Hello and welcome to Deprogrammed with Carrie Smith. Today's Friday, March 25th. Thank you for hanging out with us. Just a couple of announcements up top. We finally have a local set up for this new channel. This is a new channel. If it's your first time here, hit subscribe. We also have a Patreon and a Subscribe Star if you want to support. And I have picked a winner for the contest, and Greg Wilson is going to make him a custom knife. The name that we picked is Carry On, Keep Calm and Carry On. But we're going to do it as a t-shirt. Anyway, congratulations to the swill who's going to be getting a fancy knife. I hope he doesn't live in the UK. Welcome. I don't want to keep these guys waiting. I have a really fun group of people today. So please welcome Nina Infinity, who you guys know, Jeremy from the Quartering, and Mike Harlow.
Hey.
Hey.
You guys are just meeting for the first time, Nina and Mike, right?
Yeah, and I love your
I didn't realize that
super
you're
gay
though.
background. I love it.
I didn't realize you were you though. Like I've totally watched you on stuff.
I'm me. Hi. Nice to meet you. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi. Jeremy.
Hi.
So before we started, oh, thank you. We were talking about Mikey's roommate was illegally downloading movies. And allegedly, and he actually had his internet turned off. I've never even heard of that happening before.
Quarantined it. I had to call them to have them unquarantine it.
Oh my God. I didn't know that could still happen.
I didn't know they started caring.
Yeah. I know
Hollywood's hurting right now. I mean, that's,
yeah.
every $4 matters to them. It's tough.
Yeah,
it's hard up there for a pedophile.
Yeah. Not anymore with the new Supreme Court justice.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh. I
don't even know. I'm not a biologist, so I wouldn't know.
Can we start with that? I know everybody's talked about this, but just in case you live under a rock, this Supreme Court justice who's they're having the confirmation hearings. And Cole, can you pull up that clip? Pull up the one where she can't define woman. I know everyone's probably seen it, but this is so important. Nina and I talked about it the other night, and I have the issue here is not just the ideology part of it, that obviously the left is trying to say that woman is something that you can't define now and anybody can identify as it. The real problem is much larger than that. I think it's that if you can't define basic words, then there's no guarantee that you can define any words, right, guys? It's like, so what is a right? What is an amendment? How do we agree on anything?
What is it?
Exactly.
Any of these things.
I love that this has sort of become the thing that they're asking people, because I've always felt like this issue is sort of the perfect litmus test, or like a Rorschach test for whether or not you live in reality.
Yes.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
It's such a setup, dude.
Yeah.
They know she can't. They know she can't. Yeah.
No, but
Not
she was.
in
But
this
that
context,
other
I'm
lady,
not a
though,
biologist.
the other lady, she seemed legit surprised though when she said, "No, I can't." Like she was expecting her to give some sort of answer, but then she was like, "No, I can't." And she's like, "What do you mean you can't?" Like, because you can be like, I don't know, I'm a woman. Like, I don't know what you mean by. Can I define a woman? I'm sitting right in front of you. You are a woman. What do you mean? Like, there's just so many things that you could say other than, no, I can't define what that is. That's so fucking bizarre.
It's such a cop out. Imagine expecting someone like that to stick rigorously to our Constitution when they're willing to like waffle on a scientifically agreed upon fact because they're worried about Twitter.
That's the scary part of it is. For me, I don't care about any of the other issues they brought up about her. I don't care. If you can't give a definition to something in reality, we all know what a woman is. If you can't do that, what you're saying, Jerry, I can't expect you to stick to any definition. And this is that idea about a lot of people talk about how the US, how we have a lot of protections other countries don't have because we have the First Amendment, we have the Second Amendment, we have these different individual rights that they've put into the Bill of Rights, but that doesn't matter if we can't agree on what the dictionary says about what all those words mean.
Well, if you look at, I don't know how long this is because I've only been paying attention for the last 5 years, but I mean, remember when sexual harassment or even a word like rape meant something, meant like forcible, whatever. I'm not going to go through it, but now it's like, oh well, actually there are many forms of it, and like, so it's what's the other word? Rape got, we live in a rape culture. What exactly is a rape culture? Like all this stuff started, I don't know, 2016.
That's Me Too, right? Like I think Me Too changed a lot of those weird terms. Well, not weird, but those
What's
terms
sexual
changed.
assault? That used to be something. Now it's like, oh, a guy looked at a girl who was bending over, and that's sexual assault now. I'm like, come on, man. Like,
it's weird, Jeremy, because when I used to live in Canada, I worked at Future Shop, and I had an incident where this dude that I work with, he would come and bite in me once in a while. Like he would just like come up like right across. Like,
is
right
that
here.
That's a verb now?
The sidle?
Yeah.
And I'm a little older. I think of Seinfeld when I think of that. You got to give him like a pack of Tic Tacs. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But he would just like come up right here, and he would like take a good whiff. Like he'd be like, and he'd like smell me, and then he'd be like, you smell good.
Okay, well that's sexual harassment.
That's definitely
White House
harassment.
Yeah.
And it made me feel really uncomfortable. And I remember like I went and talked to my boss, and I was like, hey, this is like inappropriate, and it's making me feel uncomfortable. And they were like immediately, like they went into action and was like, we're sorry, like they had a meeting with the guy and me in the room, and they were like, do you want us to fire him? And I was like, no, I don't want him to get fired, just have some fucking boundaries. Like that's basically it. And he was like, okay, but then 2 days later he got fired anyway because he sucked at his job, not because of what happened with me. But it was just like one of those things. But it was just one of those things where he first of all, steps were taken by men at my work who were in leadership positions to make me feel comfortable at my workplace. And secondly, like it was one of those things where it was clearly defined that it was like sexual harassment, that what was happening. Whereas now, I think that because it was a mild form of it, like now it would be considered way more over the top than it was back then. Like they'd be like, oh, this guy basically pretty much was going to grope her or like rape her.
Oh, no. They would call it rape or sexual assault. They wouldn't call it sexual. They would call it sexual assault.
Yeah.
Unless Biden does it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Do you remember Al Franken, his Me Too moment? It was literally for just, there was one picture where he, as a comedian, was pretending to touch a girl's breast. He's a comedian. Yeah. But the rest were all, then these women came out of the woodwork, and it was literally just pictures of him standing with them. I have a picture just like that with him, and I did #WhyNotMe because they were like, but he had his hand on their back and like, look at this picture. He had his hand on the small of my back.
Them. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Thank God people can't find our MySpaces, because I would be Me Too'd 1,000 times over.
That's what they basically did to poor Vic Mignogna too. Like they were like, oh yeah, he totally like did like all this.
He kissed people on the cheek who were there to see him. Oh, the horror.
Who was that?
The voice actor for the Edward Elric and Full Metal Alchemist, and I think he's
Dragon Ball.
Holy. Yeah,
I feel like I heard about that.
Yeah, it's a wild thing. Like he got totally like deplatformed, and all these.
His career's over.
His career is over.
Yeah.
They still harass him at cons. Like there was a con the other day, a couple months ago, and the crazy Twitter retards went after him and basically got them to cancel him from the con again. And it's just been going on and on and on, and they just no respite. Like it's just crazy. These people are nuts.
That's why I always say with this with the mob or whatever, like the cancel Borg, they don't want you, like they want you dead. Like they don't want you, like they'll say things like he has to have accountability or she has to have accountability or whatever. No, they really want you dead, because what they've done to that man, like he can't, they're not letting him they're treating him like I don't even want to give an example. Like he was, look, we've all been around affectionate people. Mike, I've spent a little while with you. I mean, you're pretty handsy. But the like
only with you, darling.
I know.
Oh,
yeah, that in our hotel concierge. But the it's like it's not like it's a generational thing sometimes with people where like, it's like not a big deal for like an old like a grandpa to kiss somebody on the cheek or something like that. And like now it's like, oh my God, he's a rapist, or like he's like, I don't think Vic Mignogna is or ever was a predator. He was just an affectionate guy.
yeah.
And then it became in vogue to get clout by saying you're a victim. And like they want to ruin this guy's life. And like he can't do anything now because he kissed a fan on the cheek. It's not like he was using his privilege to even have sex with people or anything. Not that I saw. Like it wasn't even anything weird. Like there's Harvey Weinstein, and then like that. But that's how they're treating him.
They're treating him like Harvey.
Why did they come after this guy? Why did they come after him? I don't know.
Because he's a Christian.
Because he was going to make. Nick Rekieta does a lot of good videos on this guy, but like basically like the long end of it is that he was working for Funimation and he was going to make his own voice acting company, and they found out and they were like, no, fuck this, because that's basically the competition. So we're gonna ruin you. Yeah, they ruined him. Yeah, they ruined him.
I find it's always because it's such a double standard. Al Franken, who I mentioned, is one of the few where I've seen them go after someone on the left.
He was their sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, and that told me there was something there, that there's probably some reason why they also wanted him gone. I don't know why, but otherwise I don't think the whole left would have mobilized against him, because usually there's this real double standard of
if they're pretty liberal in his views.
Yeah, he was a lefty, but he was like, I think he was a real progressive in some ways, and the social justice people hate the actual progressives,
I think the opposite. I think he actually, maybe just my assumption, could have been one of the rare ones who was actually kind of innocent in general. And so they were like, let's just pin this on him, make him our sacrificial lamb, so nobody will focus on the actual horrible people who have done all these horrible things.
Well, yeah, I don't think they had any dirt on him. Do you know what I mean? Like if you don't have dirt on someone... Yeah. So but you can't control them. I used to be naive, even just a few short years ago. I remember I thought that people got ahead in politics and other things by being good people and having a good reputation.
Having the right opinions on views and things like that.
Right. And then I realized, no, it's the opposite, because it's sort of like they want to know they can control you. So it's much harder to get ahead if they don't have dirt on you that they know they can hold over you.
Well, Biden just literally said that the other day. He was like, we all know he was talking about Hunter, but he was literally like, he came out and said like, oh, politics happen because we have stuff on each other, and like you don't want that stuff to get out. Like that's basically what he came out and said, and it was really bizarre. But Jeremy, you brought up something earlier that I thought was interesting, because you said like something about grandpas kissing people. Well, Biden, there's a picture of Biden going around of him kissing his granddaughter
on the lips.
Lips, bro.
And she's like 17 or something. She's like, first of all, I don't know. I'm not a parent. Maybe if they're like 2 or 3, but like this girl looked grown, right?
Mm-hmm. I saw that picture.
Yeah, and she's got like a wedding ring too. Like she's engaged. And he's like
17 and engaged.
Oh, I was just guessing. I saw like, here's Joe Biden kissing a young girl on the mouth. Scroll away,
Yeah.
In his defense, I'll say this.
Yeah, she's probably underage.
Okay, but in his defense, those things that are quick.
Pedophile apologist.
No, those quick. Look, you could probably get a picture of me kissing my dog on the lips.
That's different though.
No, that's different, dude.
But it's not like we're locked in that, because when you're looking at a picture, you're taking a photo and making it last a lot. This moment that's like really quick, like a peck on the lips. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sitting there.
Tom Brady, like an NFL player, kisses his kids on the lips, and they're like teenagers. He takes a lot of flack for it too. But right, you're not like open mouth kissing. Like
yeah.
Here's the picture. Let the audience be the judge. I'm sharing it.
I used to think that there wasn't really. I don't know. I used to think, oh, Biden, that's just how he is. He's just being whatever. But at this point, I feel like it's happened too many times.
Well, the smelling thing. That
that's a tick. I think he really does it all the time, and like everyone like my grandpas both died before I was like young enough to really remember them, but I know plenty of creepy old men who were like harmless, but then it's like, okay, well maybe they weren't harmless. Like maybe they were going back and they were like, yeah, how many fucking whiffs did you get? Oh, I got 7 of it's just one girl. Like, oh like maybe he's into it. I don't know. No kink shaming, but he might be.
I can't imagine if Me Too existed when my grandfather was around, because
these guys would all be dead. Yeah,
we'd go out to dinner and be like, "Hey, toots!" Like,
yeah, the pinch on the ass too.
Yeah.
Like,
I just want to say we've got a lot of super chats. I'm just going to run through a couple of them really fast. Thank you, Miss Martin Muses.
Hey, Teresa.
Rebecca, who says, "Oh, thank you, Rebecca." She says, "I hope this afternoon show is big enough to cause a kerfefe kerfuffle." I love it. Alliteration. Thank you. And
I don't want to see that picture again.
Which picture?
I did not want to see that again.
It's the picture of Biden kissing his granddaughter.
And look at their hands. They're interlocked right by her warm parts.
Her warm parts.
It's
right
weird,
there, like
bro.
it's a little too much. And he's not butt out like he should be. He's like crotch to crotch. I don't know.
Cole,
Sorry,
if you can find that picture, put it up
in the chat.
It's in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, put it in the chat.
Lieutenant Siver says the Copas say she just didn't want to wade into the cultural fight. Imagine Title IX if you can't define woman, though the pedo small sentences are worse. Yeah, actually, I don't think the pedo small sentences are worse. I think that I really think that it's a much bigger problem to not be able to agree on basic definitions. That's because that covers everything, including sentences you give pedophiles. Because what's a pedophile? Okay,
well, if that's a big one for me. I don't, and the right does it all the time, and I hate it. Like, remember when the right, I won't say we went after James Gunn and in retaliation for Roseanne.
Yes.
And they were calling him a pedophile just because he made some like borderline jokes. Like, I hate that because it waters down real pedophilia. Like,
yes,
like you can't like this whole thing where like, oh, Keemstar's 40 and he's dating someone who's 21 and they're calling him like that. It's like, he's not. It's like, by definition, he's not that. I don't like him. And it's fun to meme on him, but let's like not throw that word around because it's kind of important that it means something.
Jeremy, they do the same thing with the word racist.
Well,
they belittle that word so that when somebody actually is behaving like a racist, it means so little now to even say it because they've stripped it of all meaning.
The same thing with sexist, because like I think that sexism still happens. It's not
it
like
exists.
It exists. It happens all the time. And then it's just like now, but we're calling that everything now. And then when it actually does happen, people are all like hypersensitive, and you can't even call it out because
people don't care anymore. They're just, it's like the boy who cried wolf. It's like you just there's legitimate. It's like I even say that in my videos when I talk about all these lunatics who call everyone racist. Like, I guarantee you there are white people out there that use the hard R in a derogatory way about black people. I've heard it. It exists. Okay. But when you're calling somebody who's criticizing something that a black person does a racist, now what does the word even mean anymore? Now you keep hearing that word over and over again. Used to grab my attention. Now I'm like, oh, okay, somebody criticized somebody or somebody said something, like I don't even think of, the first thing I go to now is not like a lynching or the stupid idiots with their sheets on their head. I'm like, oh, Twitter just got offended by something. And now they've desensitized the word.
Yeah, the same thing with like, anything to do with women coming out with stories about men doing bad things. And I'm like, well, let's see if this is like an actual story, or is this someone like Zoe Quinn trying to like, get someone to off themselves? Like it's not, it's just so complicated now. And it's terrible because that's why I think that those women like Zoe Quinn, deserve, I don't know, the worst of the worst, because when you are taking away from actual victims, and there is victims, and that's terrible.
My friend used to say there's like 4 immoralities. There's 4 lies that you commit when you use words like racist falsely, or if you use words like pedophile falsely. And one is the actual lie itself, which is wrong to lie. The other is that you're inviting harm upon the person you're calling that. Because what do we do to racists? What do we do to pedophiles? What do we do to Nazis? If you're calling someone that, you're inviting harm upon that person. If they haven't done that, you're inviting harm upon an innocent person. And third one is that what we're talking about, you strip that word of meaning so that people who actually are victims of those things can't get the help they need sometimes because we've just reduced it to nothing.
It's interesting that you say that, Carrie, because unlike the very fact that the lady, the justice lady, couldn't, say what a woman is, she was forced to take back another set of words, which is war criminal, because that word has such a huge connotation. And she referred to like Rumsfeld and the neocons as war criminals for what they did to Iraq in the past. And she was basically, they forced her to like walk it back now. And I think it's really funny that they put such a huge definite, they defined those set of words very clearly, and how bad it is to call someone that, because we all know they're full of it in the in the government. There's so many of them, so they don't want that word to be labeled to anybody that is specifically in office right now. So it's pretty crazy that there's some words that they don't want out at all.
No, I think there was just a cover of one of these like old gay magazines or something, and it's like straight guy, his straight wife, who is a woman, he's a man, both born that way, and the headline is like, "This is a queer couple," because they both think they're they thems. I'm like, so words mean absolutely nothing at this point. But I totally agree with you, Carrie, because where I think that this is in many ways the most important issue of all. If this is something that she subscribes to, especially when you look at her record with the sentences for pedophilia and all that, I've always said, like, if you look at this Florida bill, the one they're calling the Don't Say Gay bill, it goes from kindergarten to third grade. A lot of these people are saying, which is a lie, they're saying that, it's going to force these teachers to out their gay students. They're gay first graders, second graders. So what I always think with these people is, if they believe that children can have a sexual orientation, why can't they be having sex in their mind?
Ugh.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's not a huge jump in logic if you believe one thing.
Well, hopefully you'd have some level of decency, but it's also very scary how, I'm sure this happened a million times before, but how the renaming of that bill, it was like this mass psychosis where people legitimately believed it said something completely different. This was what was so scary for me. Like, the bill was readily available. Anybody could read it. It was short. It wasn't like the omnibus where it was like a bazillion pages. You could read it. You could see that it didn't say "don't say gay." You could see that it didn't target the LGBTQ community. You could see all of the things that were easily disproved, and we still lost the narrative. The bill passed, but nobody knows what it's really called. Everyone calls it "don't say gay," and we lost. And that's super scary because I don't know how much easier the facts could have been to access, and you had bad actors who either A, never read it and are just dumb, or B, read it and chose to willfully participate in misinformation, including the mainstream media, which was appalling.
Yeah.
That's what they always do, though. They will. They're amazingly good at it. They will create a lie, then they will brand it, market it, sell it to America, and repeat. Repetition is just like the fuel of the left, and then these things just become sort of zombie lies that won't die. Whether it's this or the Muslim ban that never existed,
Right?
And it kind of just shows how totally incompetent the right is at countering it. I mean, even look at
they suck. You're right.
It's like a tale of two hearings when you compare Kavanaugh to this one.
Yes.
The Democrats were ready to burn the world down to prevent him. What are Republicans doing? Asking a couple pointed questions?
Yeah.
The coverage is completely different too. I saw on Twitter last night, where you're in search and it shows you the recommended news articles, and they had a really beautiful picture of Brown Jackson. What is it? Jackson Brown Jackson. They had a beautiful picture of her, and you could see her daughter and her husband behind her looking at her with love. And it said, photojournalist captures this beautiful picture that is, that describes all of the trial. This is all you need to see from not the trial, the hearings, is you see this one picture. It's iconic. And then if you click on that, there's like a bunch of other Twitter stories they're recommending. And one of them is about the photographer herself who took the picture, and how, as a woman of color, she's often the only woman of color in the journalist pool
that's ever existed. Ever.
and just the way they cover it and they manipulate us. I sometimes struggle with, this, Nina, we've talked about this, because I used to be in the leftist echo chamber, and for so long that now when I look at things, I a lot of times wonder, I can't tell sometimes if it's gotten a lot worse or if it's just that I couldn't see it before. But I think it's both. I think I couldn't see it before, but also it is getting worse.
Yeah, I think so. But also, like, the other thing that I saw going around was, and it was funny because I read your tweet about it, because I thought the exact same thing was Booker talking to her, and his question, like, freaking juicy smooye in there. Like, I was like, bro,
the arm motions are what do it for me.
You guys, can we watch this clip? Cole, can you put up?
He went for full Celine.
He did.
My sister.
I love you. I was like, dude, calm down.
Okay, if you guys haven't seen this,
he's conducting the orchestra.
The land that never has been yet, but yet must be the land where everyone is free. Oh, yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me, but I swear this oath, America will be.
He's crying.
It's almost like he's like pulling a Mussolini, like
this desk.
Dab, dab.
And everyone here, generations of folk who came here and said, America.
Oh, can you pause it a second? Can you pause it a second?
Irish or dogs need to fly, but I'm going to show this.
Pause it, Cole.
Has anybody else noticed that Kenyatta Brown or whatever, clearly the very first ever black person on the Supreme Court? That's all. That's all I wanted to point out.
Yeah. Clearly,
they voted against the first black woman on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
So this video in the comments, the guy who shared it, I think he says, just watch this video, just watch. And this is the tale of two different cities, right? The tale of two different worlds, two different movies, because he could be saying that, meaning what I was thinking, which is, what an awful acting job, but that's not what he's saying. I think he finds it inspiring.
He's slay queening. That's what he's doing.
He's like, just watch this amazing video of this person, like, explaining their life story and how, she's just so stunning and brave, and she's here. It's like, oh no.
Isn't it like Jussie Smollett, his acting? Like,
very similar.
Super,
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they're both liars. I like dinner theater, but
I can be free here. I can make this country love me as much as I love it. Chinese Americans forced.
I'm not suicidal.
Slave labor our country saw the ugliest of America, but they were going to build their home here and say, America, you may not love me yet, but I'm going to make this nation live up to its promise and hope.
I like how she starts crying too, and I'm like, bro, like, some crocodile tears.
It must have been coming from a pump in her hand.
Yeah, no shit.
Dab, dab.
Talked about them, and
I think it might be possible for her to have a true emotion about
America,
about this momentous event for herself. But I also think, look at her face. I think part of her is like, this dude is.
She doesn't care. Yeah, she knows that he's just standing on top of her to get like. This is why I got sucked in by Trey Gowdy and Ted Cruz early on because of their viral ownage Twitter clips.
Yes.
And then I started watching, and literally nothing ever got done.
No.
Like Trey Gowdy would go up there and crush somebody, and then they'd still lose, like every time.
Same thing with Rand Paul and like
Rand Paul.
Owning like Fauci like how many times, and he's still working.
Yeah, and then I started to think, oh, I get it. They're just doing this because they know it's going to go viral, and they know that it's good for their base. Like Ted Cruz is one of the worst Like that dude is constantly talking all the right talking points about big tech and censorship and stuff. That guy, just like Trump, never did a thing. Never did a thing about it. And it's like, okay, I got sucked in by it early. I was like, oh man, look at Trey Gowdy. He's a king. He's crushing these people. And then like, right, never won a thing. Ted Cruz never ever has accomplished anything against big tech. Trump never did anything against big tech until he was banned and he was already a dead candidate. He couldn't do anything. So like these people are all putting on a show.
I mean, it's definitely a kangaroo court. I mean, to be fair though, with regards to Rand Paul, I think he actually does want Fauci to go to jail. I
believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
He's
I just
put in a separate category.
Yeah. But Ted Cruz, though, that's the other funny part, Jeremy, that you said that, because I watched her interview with him like the 2 days in a row. And the first day she's all like, hey, how are you? And like, he's like, yeah, we went to school together. We were like, bros and blah, blah, blah. You were like my sister. And she's like, yeah, oh my God, I'm so excited about this. And then the next day she's like, hi, Ted.
Yeah.
Let's get this going. Like she was like so annoyed. It was so funny.
I just had to read out Adam's. He wasn't a super chat, but he said, what was it? Friends, countrymen, lend me your feels.
Yeah, totally.
It's such a play. It's such a performance. Just a couple more of these because I don't want to get behind on them. G-Man. Thank you, G-Man. He says, I would have asked the SCOTUS nominee if she considers herself to be a woman. Ironic, Biden promised a woman nominee who can't define woman.
I bet you she wouldn't have answered. I will bet you she would not have answered that.
I don't think so.
It is, first of all, one of the most insulting things to say, my candidate is going to be this race or this gender, because then when you pick them, it's like, you didn't pick the best person. You picked the best person who happened to be this race or this. It's so condescending. I would hate to be that person. Why do you think
Kamala Harris is there? Right? Like,
exactly.
She literally, and then like, this is why she's such a cuck. And same with like Bernie. Like, I mean, like she stood up on that stage and called Joe Biden a racist to his face, and then went down immediately on her knees to get the VP job. Like, if you really thought this guy was so
where she does
awful,
her best work.
I've heard she's very good at it. But I mean, it's like, and same thing with Bernie. He cucked out every time. I'm going to run. I'm going to get that Democratic nomination. Oops. Hillary can have it this time. That guy was the biggest sellout ever. He just got all his money from his campaign donations and pussed out. Same thing with Kamala Harris too. They're all pathetic.
Bernie Sanders must have some complex. Him to the DNC is just like, oh yeah, mistress, give it to me harder. He does it twice. None of us have gotten screwed as well as Bernie Sanders has been screwed. Yeah. It has been quite a while.
Yeah, other than Jack Murphy, no one's gotten that. By the way, the gay rascal, I really appreciate this.
The gay rascal?
Yeah, his icon is freaking funny.
Hello, gay rascal.
Batman, yeah, with Hello Kitty on
there. Hello Kitty on there.
Yeah. He says, we just don't understand. It's on the front. He says, we need to do the work.
It's on where the Batman symbol would be.
There it is. Sorry, I'm slow.
Let's see.
I should have said it was by his pecs. Then you would have got there faster than by the
I
Batman
was going
symbol.
like this, and he still wasn't getting it. I'm like, it's like right here.
Yeah.
We had RBG, and we're getting RBF. I don't get it.
Resting bitch face.
Oh. Thank you.
Oh my God, I thought it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
It was. That's the joke. We had Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and now we have.
Oh my God. Okay, now I get it.
Freaking boomers. What the?
Now I get it. Oh shit.
That's probably the oldest person on this panel. Let's go, guys.
God,
oh, and there's Adam. This is the one that was so funny. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your feels. Oh, hey, Adam Krigler. Adam's here. Hello.
Hey!
Thank you, guys. Well, I just wanted to highlight that Cory Booker clip because, again, I think it just shows the two different worlds that we live in. And there's all these people on there who are loving it and celebrating it. And Nina, I know you're interested in personality disorders like I am. And I look at him and I just see a narcissist performing what he thinks a human who has passion looks like. But
That's
it's,
exactly what's going on.
right. But it's so
Yeah.
transparent. So I don't, who are those people who buy into it? Why are they buying? Why do they see that and think it's authentic?
I think that it's most people are either naive or have basically like what you were saying earlier, like they really do believe that politicians like, you know, move up because they're so you know, altruistic, or like they're actually good people and they're doing good things in their communities and blah blah blah. But most politicians are actors. Like that's what's going on. Like whenever you see the Senate hearings, or like any of these people going on campaign trails and blah blah blah, they're acting, they're putting on an act a lot of times. So I think that that's what's going on with Corey as well. Like he's a good actor. You have to be in order to succeed the way you are in politics and be a successful politician. You have to be able to act. And one of the things that narcissists are really good at is acting and putting on a show for whoever. Like, and it could be on a very basic level too. It doesn't have to be politicians. This goes on your daily life. If you've ever met someone who's a narcissist, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because they'll put on a show to get what they want from you, whether that's like, you know, emotional energy, whether that's finances, because they could be hitting you up for money. This kind of stuff happens all the time.
Maybe usually not as transparent as that, but
no.
Cole, can you put
very transparent? Usually, it's just idiots like us don't like listen to ourselves when we meet them.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
No,
you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think a lot of times projection goes both ways. Like sometimes people with bad intent, they're projecting bad intent on you because that's what they're like. And so if they're trying to insult you and they say something really out of left field, but you realize, oh, they're telling me something about themselves, that happens. But normal people project too. People who I would say are generally not personality disordered, they're like, well, everyone's like me and everyone's working in good faith. And so they give the benefit of the doubt to people who are performing.
And that's true too, because we are all full of projection. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
I was going to say that was one of the most disillusioning things online. Is like, there used to be a time in my life, like during the Debate Me Bro era, where I was like, oh yeah, I'll talk to anybody. And then it was like time after time after time. I was always trying to approach things in good faith. And then like I'd run into people who were just clearly not interested in any good faith conversation. I'm like, oh, these people actually didn't want to talk to me. They didn't actually. And like, I kept getting fooled by it. And so that's yeah, it's a valid, I think, a valid point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's true. We do that too, like Carrie, like you were saying, because I do that all the time. I'm still guilty of doing it when I'm like, there's no way this person would be capable of doing that. Like, for example, and I don't want you to play it. I don't even want to talk about it too much, but that guy, Jeremy, that, you know, with the dog, like, you know, and the cat situation, like that whole thing, like, I'm like, there's no way anyone would be capable of doing something like that. I just don't feel like as a human being, you would be capable of doing something like that, because I would never be able to do that. But there are people who are actually psychopaths and full-on narcissists that are inhuman. They're basically inhuman. They're not human beings.
Yes.
And they do things like that all the time. And we just cannot fathom how they function.
Well, I think that there's also what I find, there's also a crossover with, like, in the world where I live, which is in fandom, the crossover with like politics, where we would call them stans, like the K-pop people, right? Like it's like a religion to them.
Yeah.
And if you ever piss off the K-pop people, it becomes a problem. And like there are people like this with their political beliefs because they don't have any real interesting thing to say about themselves. So like it's just like the people who there are people who are gay, and then there are people who are gay. And like when that becomes your personality trait, you get super defensive about stuff, and then you start to like religiously follow stuff. And it's true in on both sides of the political aisle, but there's a crossover there with people like that who are like, oh, I'm a Star Wars fan. That's who I am. And if you make fun of the Star Wars movie, I will dox you and I will ruin your life.
Yes.
It's because they don't have anything else to say. So you're really attacking their core, who they are.
You are spot on. People do this with all kinds of things. They make their ideas their identity, or they make their Star Wars fetish or whatever, the K-pop, they make it their identity. And so then it's like a stand-in for who they are, because they don't really know who they are, I think. And then that's why they feel if you attack that thing, if you attack, like when social justice people, for example, a lot of times their ideology is their identity. They don't have that separateness. I'm gonna do this demonstration. I just got to interview this therapist. He was talking about this. He was like, imagine like this pen and this lip gloss. These are my ideas. And he said it's really healthy for you to have a loose grasp on your ideas. And when you have interactions with people, you know, you might give up one of those ideas or you might pick up another one, but you've got a loose grasp on them and they're not you. But he was like, these people that don't know who they are, they hold the ideas really tight. It's who they are and they're not going to be challenged. And so that's why they personally attack us back, because they feel like you're personally attacking them, even though you're just attacking Star Wars or K-pop or social justice ideology, their ideas, but they feel like it's an attack on who they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
And there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people now who do that with their politics. The types that piss me off the most with that, probably because I consider myself like part of that, are like these ones who cannot hear a word of criticism about Trump and will just unfriend you and how dare you. I'm like, so is this just a cult now?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, it's like how people think that being gay is a substitute for a personality. There are now people who think like supporting a particular politician or party or something is a substitute for a personality.
That's super dangerous too. Yeah. Super dangerous. And it was manufactured over the last 10 years or so. It became this thing where there was social credit for it. There was and it was on both sides of the aisle, right? Like the merchandising of politics, where you see people wearing their Bernie shirts and their tax the rich garbage. And like that is standing in direct opposition to progress, because people, like Carrie said, are then unwilling to meet in the middle where all things get done. Nothing gets done when people are holding onto their ideas tightly on both sides of the aisle. And like this is heading down. It's growing a group of people that will be incapable of any kind of real conversation and
critical thought.
They're drones, and that's what people on both sides of the aisle want. They're like,
yeah,
I'm a Republican. I vote, just like Mike said with Trump. Like I have friends who are like still like, when I say like, bro, yeah, Trump was a great ride, but like I don't want him to run again. Like, why, man? He's gonna save the world. I'm like, he couldn't even prevent Silicon Valley. The one thing he told me he was gonna do, he didn't do it. And like, why would he do it now? And he's 100 years old. Let's not maybe elect people who are in their 80s now. And like
he totally, you know, that one of his biggest things was he's gonna like, you know, put Hillary in jail.
Never tried.
Where's Hillary at?
Yeah,
never happened.
So,
but you know, it's crazy about Trump, because there's definitely things that he did that I don't agree with either. But you guys are right, and that's something that George Orwell talked about in 1984, is the allegiance to the party. Like that's the thing that is very like the totalitarian takeover of a culture comes from when you distinguish yourself and your core as part of that collective, and you're like, okay, I'm going to be I am the party. This is the party line, and if I go, you know, right past it or below it, then I'm no longer part of this party. And it can be a very, very dangerous thing. And your loyalty to the party is basically what keeps your identity going and who you are as a person. And it's just terrifying.
And they don't give a shit about you.
No.
That's what I try to tell people who are so into it, like so in love. They worship them like a deity. I'm like, you think Joe Biden gives a fuck about you? No, he doesn't. He cares about the power. So like the second you get, and that's, by the way, every president that's probably ever been a president is some level of megalomaniac. But like, you think Donald Trump really sits down and cares about people getting banned off Twitter? No. And I'll tell you how we know that, because the guy didn't say a damn thing about it until he got banned. And then it's suddenly, big tech. Dude,
yeah, he didn't say shit when his friend Alex Jones got freaking banned off everything.
Anything.
He didn't say shit.
And
that's what we were all saying. We were like, you know, all the conspiracy theory people were like, well, you know, first they came to Alex Jones and we didn't say anything. And then, you know, just wait until they come for you, because they will come for you at some point for whatever reason. And then no one will be left to stand up for you.
I've been thinking so hard this last year, being stuck in New York City. I've been thinking about why in America there have been absolutely no sort of uprisings to the COVID tyranny at all. If you look at what's happening in Canada, every other country, the UK, there have been big demonstrations. Here, there's been nothing from the right. And I really think that part of that is because Trump was president when it started. I think people
were afraid.
The benefit of the doubt. They trusted him, myself included. I'm totally guilty of that too, that people didn't think he would allow what happened to happen. And I honestly think if Biden had been president then, there would have been a huge uprising from the very beginning from the right. And instead, we just were like frogs getting put up to a boil. We got used to it for 6 months or a year. And then what?
Well, that's why the whole Trump thing kind of drives me nuts, because I'm like, dude, that whole Operation Warp Speed thing with the vaccine, that was all him. Like, I don't understand why Republicans are going so crazy now with the whole anti-vax thing or whatever. But then they refuse to, even acknowledge the fact that Donald Trump is completely fine with the vaccine and was the
I know he was
pushing
never.
the vaccine.
What do you mean
he was
going
never against
crazy
it.
with the
People don't like
anti-vax
that
thing?
People don't like that that he pushed it. They'll say like, "Oh, well, Trump's pro-vaccine. What the hell?" And here's a segment of
haven't seen that.
I think that's what you mean, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I have friends like that too. I'm
There's
like,
there's two groups. There's two groups. One is the one that Jeremy was talking about, and the other are complete denial about it. And they're like, no, like he's saying that, but he actually didn't take it. He took a placebo.
Yeah.
He
Trust the plan.
Yeah.
You know what
for me, I don't care that he did Operation Warp. Great. My issue is that he's done absolutely nothing to stand up to the mandates. His buildings all comply with it, and he's supposed to be a leader, even if he's not in office right now.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, every single one. And what bothers me is that you have working class people. Hey, Adam, you have working class people like truckers or whoever risking everything, every dime they have to stand up to this. And people like Trump, like many corporations, won't do a damn thing, won't lift a finger. People who have the money and have the power, a lot of these people too, people that I've liked who do tours, artists, that they play venues that have mandates and stuff. So the people who have all the money and all the power in the world to stand up to this won't lift a finger.
That's why I have so much respect for people.
Said.
Oh, he was just saying 4 of my favorite people on here I have to be watching. But that's why I really respect people like Chrissy Mayer. Shout out to Chrissy Mayer, because people who are just performers who are who have a following that take a stand and are like, you know what, I'm not going to perform here. I'm not going to keep going with this. I'm not going to eat at this restaurant that's not going to seat people who don't have a mask or whatever. It's just there's a certain line and you draw it for yourself because you have your own, morality, your own whatever, and then you just you that's the line. There
was that gym owner that was one dude, right?
I think he's running now for New Jersey governor or something like that. I'm like, go dude.
That's what we need. I think is more people running who are not as we were talking about. I think a lot of politicians have bad intent. It doesn't matter which party. I think that they're narcissists or they have some kind of personality disorder that makes them want to go into that place. But I think we need more just ordinary people who, like Jack in Lost. He didn't want to be a leader. He had to be the leader. We need more Jacks. It's the person who doesn't want to be the leader, but you get pushed into it because we need a good man to run. Do you know what I mean?
God, they destroyed that show, Carrie. Terrible ending.
Oh no, I like
watching it.
I like the ending.
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
Don't bother, Jeremy.
Oh no, you should watch it now.
It was like the original Game of Thrones, Jeremy. Freaking Jar Jar Abrams.
See, I feel so justified that I never watched Game of Thrones. For years, people were like, "What?" And now I feel like I was right all along.
You were.
I only watch shows if there's boobs in it. So, I mean, that's, and that was on regular TV. So it seems unlikely.
No, there were boobs in it. I remember.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, cool. No. You're
No, there were, because they were on a beach. They're all the ladies are wearing bikinis all the time or bathing suits.
Oh, no. I want.
No. He means
I'm
nips.
talking about boob out.
Oh,
yeah.
I can see boobs outside.
You would enjoy this new movie I watched, Jeremy, with Anna de Armas. She shows like full whatever. It's the new one with Ben Affleck.
Oh, I want to watch that. Was it terrible?
It wasn't great.
That's what I heard.
Is that the one they were pushing on? What was the one they were pushing on Hulu this week?
That one.
That's the one?
That's the one.
Yeah.
But you do see a lot of Anna de Armas. So if
that goes a long way for me. You know, that'll take a 4.5 movie to a 6.5, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Cole has a video to show us I haven't seen. He just texted me. Go ahead and show us. He said this is Joy Behar talking about Obama in relation to the Supreme Court nominee. Have you guys seen this?
No.
About it, you know,
The View. That's going to be amazing.
Katande, who reminded me of Obama a little bit because he was also perfect. He had nothing wrong going on, and it's like the movie. Oh dinner with Sidney Poitier plays this, a psychologist or a doctor who's perfect. They have to have a perfect.
He's not gonna fuck you, lady.
Otherwise,
oh
they
my
can't
God!
do that. You know, the Republicans will not be able to deal with it. So what you have here are 50 senators who are going to vote against this woman who is above reproach. Mm-hmm. And the first black woman in that position, that is going to be on their record.
Second.
And that's why they're asking these dumb questions, so that they can have something to bring back to their constituency when they go home and say, well, look at, she doesn't believe that babies are racist or whatever the hell they were talking about. Who even knows what they're talking about? But they need something because it's an embarrassment to the country.
Where was this bitch during Kavanaugh when they were calling him a gang rapist? And they brought up that... Like this is why the Democrats are better. When Kavanaugh was up there, they literally manufactured this narrative of him being a sex predator.
Yep.
Brought in somebody, made her rich. People forget that liar got like $500,000 on GoFundMe for fucking what? And then and there's a book deal. The Democrats completely manufactured this, and they're like, "Do you remember 37 years ago at this one college party where you poked a boob? Oh my God, he's a rapist." And like, by the way, Obama, I believe that counts 1,878 drone strikes. Okay. And he wasn't blowing up plants with those. All right.
Yep.
So Barack Obama was no perfect person by any stretch of the imagination.
Ask a Syrian how perfect.
Yeah, no kidding. Ask Libya if he was a perfect person.
We literally ran out of bombs.
Yeah.
My goodness.
That was Trump's first betrayal, by the way. I don't know if you guys remember that. Like, I will tell like very clearly the number one reason I voted for him was because he promised no wars and I believed him. Then he was like in office for like a fucking week and he fired missiles into Syria. I'm like, dude. Then that was like when I lost all faith. I'm like, God, he did take a lot of heat, and I think he was like he didn't really do it again after that. But I was like, come on, man.
We all know who stopped Syria's situation.
Of course,
we all know. We're not even going to talk about that.
Yeah.
The Kavanaugh thing, I want to come back to that for a second because again, I think you're right. It's such a stark difference in how the media is portraying it, and I think this relates to what you were talking about earlier, Mikey, about there being no massive uprising. There have been protests. The thing is, the media has so much sway. There are still enough people, especially boomers, watching the mainstream news, television, and if they're not covering something, then it's like it's not happening, and it doesn't.
Well, Chrissy was out at that. Chrissy was out at that little. She goes those little no demask, and she live streams from them. And it's just like whatever, some random road in New York. And there seems like there's quite a few people out there like holding signs and on the streets. But yeah, it's not on the news.
But the media doesn't cover
Those are
it.
extremists.
And they did the same, like with Kavanaugh, the way they covered that, the way it was 24/7 news, they were pushing this narrative on us that he was some kind of rapist. And that there were several things that helped to wake me up. There's not like one magic bullet, it's sort of a slow process coming out of a cult. And I do think of it like a cult. And one of the things that really was like my final wake-up call was Kavanaugh, because it was so disgusting what they did to him. And that picture I mentioned earlier, the media, they're putting up on Twitter, it's like, look at this beautiful picture of her with her family behind her at the hearings. I remember a picture of Kavanaugh crying and his wife and the women in his family behind him looking angry at what was happening to him. And I remember the left used that picture and manipulated what was happening in it and said, look at these women and the way they're looking at him so
They're angry at him.
And it's like, no, that's his family. They're angry at what's happening to him, that you're humiliating him.
Yeah, they had zero, and again, that was just another example of like we're living in a post-truth society. When they brought up that lady on, and then there was that, what was it, like an SNL actress dared to make fun of her. It's called a vocal fry, I think, where like everything she says like,
yeah, it's
whatever.
vocal fry.
Yeah, and they ran her off. I think she got canceled for making a comedian making a joke about, because this woman was a survivor and she was brutally raped by Kavanaugh allegedly 35 years ago. It was
God.
Bullshit.
It was insane.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Cole, can you bring up the Pew study? This gets to this next thing I want to talk about. So I saw a tweet that you did, Jeremy, that was about how the media is sort of, it could be anything. You happen to pick an article where the media is now saying, oh, hey, we were all fooled about this thing. We were duped. We didn't realize they were counting all kinds of deaths as COVID deaths. Hey, guys, we were all duped. And you said, no, we weren't. Like some of us knew. And we've known all along. And you don't get to pretend now like we all, those of you who were only watching the mainstream media, yeah, maybe you guys were all duped. But there's a wealth of information out there that they're trying to suppress. And I came across this recent study. This is from Pew. It says nearly a quarter of Americans get their news from podcasts. This is from February. And if you scroll down,
Gee, I wonder why they're trying to attack Joe Rogan.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. It's interesting that they say that because like a little while ago, like before podcasts were like a big deal and stuff like that, most Americans were getting their news from shows like The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. Like they weren't really even watching like CNN or MSNBC or any of those things. They were just watching Jon Stewart and getting their news straight from The Daily Show. So like, I think this is just carried over now into like the new, because, you know, YouTube and podcasts, of course, Joe Rogan is like the biggest podcaster in the world. Like, I think it's just translated now into it because, people are just sick of lies, and they have been for a long time. And it's been happening longer than, you know, than we would even imagine. That's why it's been going on since then. Like they've been just going like on a straight decline, like the legacy media for years now.
Yeah. Do you guys remember when, was it Viacom? Who was it that went after PewDiePie? The Wall Street Journal.
Disney.
Yeah. Wall Street Journal. Yeah. And all of these legacy media places started attacking PewDiePie. And I was thinking, okay, they're trying to call him a Nazi because of some comedy videos he did on his gamer streaming channel. But in reality, what's happening here? Well, in reality, I think part of it is just this war between this old dinosaur media and new media, and people having this whole diverse range of options now of what they listen to. And I think that the old dinosaurs are trying to hang on to the attention span.
Well, they know that. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Sorry to cut you off. But I was say they know that it's very difficult when you're doing like a 3-hour podcast to be inauthentic. Like eventually you're going to slip up, and people are going to, so like people have very little choice than to be pretty authentic on their podcasts or their videos. Like I put out 7 videos a day. If I was incongruent in my beliefs, my viewers let me know. When I go on the news and I read a teleprompter and I have makeup and lights and all this stuff, I don't need to worry about slipping up. That's why there's so many of these lunatics that like, oh, Cuomo's out without a mask. No big deal. He's just, like, he's just riding his bike without a mask, or he's doing this. None of these people believe the things that they say. They're just news readers. And so podcasting, I think, lends itself to being more authentic. Are there liars who podcast? Sure. Are there political hacks? Sure. But like, it's much more difficult to be like a mouthpiece when you're creating so much unfiltered content.
One of my favorite ones from like recent memory is like when I was watching like the trucker convoy stuff go down in Toronto, and it was like they had like the Globe and Mail, or like I think it was like CBC or whatever, one of those Canadian mainstream media companies was like filming something, and then you had like live streamers like filming what they were filming. And then so they'd be like
CBC,
they'd have like their CBC or whatever, so that they'd have like their mask on, and then the second the camera would turn off, they'd like immediately take off their mask and just like be like whatever, like hanging out. But it was just it's all theater, it's all for show. Everyone knows, like it's literally like the Leonard Cohen song at this point. It's like everybody knows, everybody knows, and it's just nobody gives
even
a
the people
shit.
who agree with it know. Like, they don't think that Brian Stelter, when he's taking his gym selfies with his mask on, is even going in there and working out. Like, they know that like these guys are all frauds, but they're like, it's the same. We agree on some things. Yeah, I think they do. I think that there now there are people who believe a lie so long that it becomes truth to them. But I think that there are a lot of people that believe that, that are willing to let stuff slide. And we see it. I'm most aware of it on the right when I see like, Tucker Carlson, try criticizing something Tucker says once, and then telling me that people on the right are enlightened and deep thinkers. Like, you can't criticize Tucker Carlson because he's a literal god and he's never gotten anything wrong. And it's the same thing with people on the left. If you were to criticize, I don't know, and then who, I guess,
anyone.
Anyone. Yeah, as long as it's on narrative, like there's no questioning it. It's like, we say follow the science, but not with gender. We follow the science with wearing your mask, but not biology. Like,
it's
they
a
have
woman.
to know. Yeah, they have to know. They can't be that stupid. They're just like, well, I don't want to be a Republican. I don't want people to call me I don't want people to call me a racist. I have to,
It's cult dynamics. That's what it is. Because you can't. I think we're all. I mean, humans are tribal. We like to have communities. We like to have that sense of belonging. But you can have that tribal nature just be exploited and taken to this extreme degree where it's like Lord of the Flies, where you're out to kill the other tribe. You're good, the other tribe's evil. It's not about finding any common ground, and the fear of being thought of as part of the other tribe is enough to cause you to keep your mask on. For example, David Hodge.
It's more powerful than the joy you get from being a part of the tribe. I think for some people, like, it's more like, here's a perfect tool that's being used super effectively now. Transphobia. Like, the penalty for being called that is real, and like career ending for some people. So people won't speak out against say Leah Thomas, because even though those follow the facts and the science says that it's ridiculous that they're competing against biological women, the fear of being called transphobic just makes you ignore. It's more powerful than just saying something very matter of fact that everyone understands.
Yeah, isn't it like just recently? I think Destiny got canceled off Twitch because
permanently.
Permanently, yeah, he's gone. And I'm not a fan of Destiny at all, like not even a little bit. But I still don't think it's right. I don't think it's right what happened to him. I think it's terrible.
He stated a very basic fact about biology that everyone knows. And then, what's that?
What was it that he said?
I don't know the exact thing he said, but he was basically making the biological argument that, hey, a biological man shouldn't be competing against biological females in this type of thing. And now, granted, Destiny has a long history of saying spicy things. It's not his first offense. I don't like him. Yeah, he's been banned like a dozen times.
What's there to say that's spicy when you're on the left? Like,
Mike,
they all.
He banned Kyle Rittenhouse.
Mikey, you need to restart and rejoin. Your camera's doing that thing again where it speeds your voice up like a chipmunk.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so Destiny had defended Kyle Rittenhouse, and so you can say spicy things on the left, and he I think it just made the biological argument. Anyway, what I'm saying is, I don't want to hijack the topic, but it's the fear is more powerful than the logic. The fear of the consequence is more powerful than the logic, and there are things like we can see play out every day that prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're also, it's like trying to make examples of people as well. So someone like Destiny, you can make an example out of him. It's not just to strike fear in him. Hopefully, I think, you know, that he needs to watch what he says, but it's also anybody who's a fan. It's like
a message.
It's a message.
It's a message. Yeah.
It reinforces that idea of what will be tolerated and what won't be tolerated. And then you start censoring yourself. They build up their own internal censors, you know, of like, okay, well, I'm not going to do this because I don't want that to happen to me.
Well, there's things I've said on my channel before that, like, I genuinely, like, I have to really pick my spots when it involves certain topics, like the truth or trans issues. Like the candle's not worth the game a lot of times. Like, it has to be a big issue. I waited weeks to cover the Leah Thomas thing because I know that, like, if I slip up even a little, like, I had to keep saying biological male, biological female. If I slip up even once, I'll get a strike. And then, like, and like this one issue, which affects 0.03% of the population, has the rest of us living in fear of being deplatformed, and it's like, it's super scary that, like, we're just willing to be okay with this.
Yeah. Hi, Lieutenant Diver. He says it's not just Joe Rogan. They're also trying to stop the No Agenda show, and the media doesn't like their propaganda deconstructed.
Yeah, I mean, look at Adam Krigler. Like, he's in the chat. He gets strikes every other day. I mean, it's just like, he's clawed his way back. People like Eric July have clawed their way back. People get strike all the time. My friend John Talks gets strike. John got a strike recently. Jeremy, on he did a video of DeSantis going to, you remember that those bunch of kids that were wearing the mask? He just did like a little 30-second clip showing that, and he got a strike on that.
Yeah, it's super. And, like, I will say that, like, I don't know this for a fact, but I think my channel is insulated because I've heard enough, like, rumors. Not that I won't get strikes, but like, when you're a smaller channel, I don't mean it in whatever. When you're a pleb, you don't have, like, a human intervention before you get. We see this with Twitch. We saw this with the Twitch when Twitch got hacked. They literally have people that have, like, you know, their upper tier streamers don't get automatically struck for stuff. But when you're a smaller, because there's a lot of times that, like, friends of mine are like, bro, I can't cover that. I get struck. I'm like, what do you mean? I've done like 15 videos on it. I've never had a problem with it. And like, and I think it's because there's some level of human intervention. Not that they're protecting me, Lord knows they're not. But, like, there's the automated system is super sensitive to anything around the. That's why I say the poke, and that's why I say different words, because, like, I know that the automated system is way too aggressive.
Yeah, well, John's videos was interesting because his is just literally, like, he doesn't even say anything. He just puts, like, newspaper headlines and the actual videos of, like, whatever is going on. And then
it's super dangerous.
He doesn't say anything. It's so dangerous. And then he just edits them together and puts them there. And then he tried to fight it, and they were like, no, sorry.
They never overturn strikes.
They
Almost
didn't
ever.
overturn it.
Yeah. Mikey.
I had joined TikTok, and I lasted about a week and a half before I got permanently banned. I don't even know what. That's the thing, is, like, you can't even figure out what the rules are. What, like, I still have no clue.
They didn't tell Destiny either. He was permanently banned, and they never told him why. So, like, you're left guessing, which is one of the skeeziest things. Like, YouTube does this too. Like, well, we can't tell you what rule you violated, what rule you violated, because if we tell you, then you'll figure out a way to not violate it. It's like, that would be nice.
Yeah, if we tell you what the rule is, then you'll try and follow it. That's what they're saying, basically.
Right.
You'll try and you'll try. We got this channel I used to be on. We had a strike. Well, we got permanently banned from Twitter, and they told us it was because we were trying to evade a ban. And so we were like, that's weird. Does that just mean that we were following the rules?
I am trying to dodge them. What do you mean?
I think that was what they used to ban me. Also, I feel like that's got to be their, like, in-company lingo for inconvenient person.
Yeah, just like hate speech. You know, hate speech is a super effective catch-all for. dissidents, and they, and by the way, there was, quietly, because I think it would have been a bigger story in like the reality world. I don't like calling it the right because I don't consider myself right either. But like, I mean, I'm always correct, but I'm never, I don't consider myself right leaning. But Patreon did another huge purge this week. It wasn't a big deal in our world because they already did it like 5 years ago, and we already kind of like, but they got rid of Jesse Lee Peterson, Sydney Watson, the Wrong Opinion podcast, more and more. And of course, didn't tell any of them what they did. And they just said it was hate speech. So like, this was a clear purge, targeted purge towards, I'm not familiar with all of their content, but I can be fairly certain they're not left leaning. So like, and like, that would have been a big deal 5 years ago. And then this year, I think I'm the only one that covered it. In like this world, we're like,
we've gotten so used to
so
it,
beaten down.
The Patreon thing is especially weird too, because it's not even like they're doing it on Patreon. It's that they're doing it like, they're
It's
commenting in other places. And that's a crazy kind of ban to me, is that it's like, we're not even doing it on this platform just because you've said something somewhere else, like, go away.
What you've done elsewhere means that we're not going to let you be on Patreon. That's insane. They did that. Who was one of the first ones they did that to? Sargon.
Yeah.
It was what he was saying elsewhere. Then they banned him.
Well, he also went on his N-word rant, which was not smart. But like, he was using it contextually against white supremacists. I was there when it happened. And as he was saying it, I was like, you're going to get banned. Like, I just saw
oh, no.
But like,
you're handing them the gun.
Yeah, right. Like, you just can't. You just can't. And the frustrating thing about Patreon, which really chaps my ass the most, is that they, back in that time, for us old heads on YouTube, they needed us. They needed the edgy content creators. They courted Sargon of Akkad was like their third biggest person on the whole platform. He was huge. And then like, I got banned too for outing pedophiles. I made a mistake. I slipped up. It was a publicly like available list, but it did sort of qualify as doxing, so they banned me. But let's be honest, they banned me because they didn't like everything else I was doing, and they just, I slipped up. But like in the beginning, all those guys, like back in the day, Harmful Opinion, Sargon of Akkad, Thunderfoot, in that era of YouTube, like the atheism era where it was
golden age.
Yeah, everyone had Patreons, and Patreon sucked everyone off to get on their platform. Then the second they were able to replace them, they banned everyone, and they just got rid of them.
They use them to build. That's what a lot of these platforms. They're almost engaging in a kind of fraud, because if you look at like Twitter, for example, Jack was always going and doing interviews and talking about how we're a free speech platform. We're a free speech platform, and then you build the platform with that assumption. And then you change it slowly. You change the TOS and you become something else. And it's like, but you got all these people to sign up and create all this content and make your company a thing. You got people addicted, and now you're changing. And so it's fraud. Like, you told us it was something it wasn't. It's like Theranos. You lied.
Yeah.
I think the new guy is worse now, though, right, Jeremy? Like the
guy's way worse.
Way worse.
The new CEO, or the guy in
Twitter.
He's way worse. I know, like he has like TDS all over his timeline, and he had like he's like an open leftist. He's a lunatic. Yeah.
No, I know he is personally, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It seems like they've kind of calmed down a little bit lately.
The very first day he took over, they had a huge bandwave of people.
They did. There was a purge that day.
Yeah.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah. So he had a list, and he was checking it twice. And the second he was given the job, there was a bunch, and they were all right wing. Of course they were. So like, and by the way, there are people. I've never been like, look, if you break the rules, like, and you get banned, like, there's still a toss. And like, if there are people that I like, and they post something as clearly against the rules and they get banned, it's like, well, you effed up. Like, that's what you did. But like, this nebulous hate speech term and like all this kind of stuff, that's just their catch-all. There's the same reason, if you ever notice, every ban email from Patreon comes from the same person named Blair, who allegedly, that's a fake person. I'm certain of it. Like nobody stays in Silicon Valley that long. Like Blair banned me 11 years ago. So
Blair's
like
a computer.
yeah,
What a
right.
bitch.
Yeah. So like and it's like they even set up fake people to ban people for fake reasons.
Yeah.
And
That's
you know,
crazy.
it's actually insane. Yeah.
I just want to read this super chat, and then I have a video queued up, or Cole has a video queued up from Nina. Channel Julio, hello. I haven't heard from you in a while. It says the army is not only stating that diversity is our strength, they're starting to claim that homogeneity.
That's a tough one.
I know.
Yeah.
Homogeneity.
Yeah.
Homogeneity is a weakness.
Well, they also they just agreed. Is he I don't know if he's referencing, but like they adopted weaker physical fitness tests for women this week, and then they put out a tweet and they're like, yeah, this is great, we're moving forward. I'm like,
Gosh.
yeah, it's awesome if I'm on the battlefield and I know that the person next to me can't carry me. Like that's great. I want women to be able to serve, I absolutely do, but like they you know, I don't know about giving them a different standard to make the
No,
cut.
I completely disagree with the different standard. You should be able to meet the standards of that job, and it means that not there's going to be a lower percentage of women that are able to. But it's the same thing when you become a fireman. They have those.
You have to be able to carry the hose.
Yes,
the fire person's carry.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
they have. I had a friend who's a woman who is trying to become a firefighter.
How do you know that? Are you a biologist?
I'm not a fireman, but
Yeah.
she was having to practice with like carrying this weight vest and because you had to be able to carry a person out of a burning building.
Mhm.
Wonder why? That's your freaking job. Like,
I love that episode of King of the Hill. I don't know if you guys have ever seen
that's a
that,
good
where they
one.
make
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
of that with Peggy when she's like trying to lift Bobby over her head and she pulls her groin. She's like, I don't have a groin. I'm a
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah,
She's
I'm over
like
here.
limping. It was so funny.
Yeah.
No, but I think it goes to like these people, like I said, have put such little thought into their own views that something I always ask them and I've never gotten an answer. If there's no problem with this, why do we have women's sports? Why do we have men's sports and women's sports?
Mhm.
I've yet to get an answer.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for somebody who will come on my show and tell me why we need to be teaching first graders about sexuality. I've issued that request more than a dozen times and I've had zero takers.
Yeah, you might get one from Vito. I don't know. He's really into
engage
talking
with
about
them.
that.
Yeah, no.
Who?
So
He's
I don't know.
Lunatic.
I don't
Yeah,
know what
never
this
mind.
video is, but Nina said we
Oh,
should watch
great.
it. So let's
Great.
enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Oh, Carrie, you're gonna love this.
Ukraine and Russia. If we had a nuclear war, it would be worth it if it could just save one life.
Still more convincing than Cory Booker.
Is this Alex from Conspiracy Castle?
No.
I don't think so.
It's real?
No, it's a meme.
It's a meme.
Oh.
I mean, the video's real and the meeting's real.
Really?
Yeah, this guy does this.
Yeah.
While supporting Ukraine in the fight.
Not Alex Stein, I don't think, but Alex Stein does this kind of stuff too.
One of the people I look up to, who I've begun to love, is Klaus Schwab, and he says,
Okay, I get it now.
and I stand with him because I am not selfish. I stand against it. Are selfish.
I love how the guy behind him just starts cracking up at one point. He's just like, I can't hold this anymore.
Yeah. I think he's with him because look at how his tie's tied. Way too long. Like, he just threw that suit
I was
on.
shopping at Target in the Pride section looking for a shirt for my 6-year-old.
In the Pride section.
Transgender nephew after I got off work at Starbucks. But at least I know that I was helping the LGBTQ community while Breonna Taylor was killed. And I began to lay on my pillow and I prayed.
The best part too is like at the end when that black guy's like, could we get someone to come clean all that up?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
If you like that kind of stuff, watch Alex Stein. Like, I don't know anything about him personally, but he does these and they're like, watch his I don't know if you want to watch it now or not, but he did a video. It's a little long, but watch it on your own time. Called "Recruiting the Richardson City Council to Enlist in World War III," and
Oh my God.
and he does these things where he goes to like city council meetings and like that's. I don't think that's him.
I once I saw
talking
more,
about.
but I don't think it is either. It reminded me. So the first time I saw Alex Stein, it was the city council meeting where he was dressed like a doctor and he was rapping about the shot.
Break the other freestyle rap.
Yes. And then a friend asked me if I wanted to do this show called Conspiracy, and I was like, sure. And I didn't know anything about it really, and I showed up, and then I was like, wait a minute. Are you the doctor who raps? Like,
oh my God.
He has a show called Conspiracy Castle.
I was just looking up Alex Stein's YouTube, and he's got one called Prayers for Ukraine, and he's like at one of the city council meetings. This looks hilarious.
Okay, I want to see that.
This friend of mine from when I was before I was red pilled, this like crazy SJW person I used to be friends with who like smeared my name to everyone, was on a reality show with Alex Stein like 10 years ago. And that's where I knew of Alex Stein from some like Big Brother knockoff.
He's sort of like Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, he's talented. I think he'll do. I don't know. Like, look, I don't know if he's a. I don't know anything about his personal political views. I always have to say that because sometimes people make me laugh and then they're like a literal Nazi, and I'm like, oh shit.
Oh no.
But like, I don't know anything about his personal political views, but he's got talent. Like, because he stays in character and like he commits to the bit, and like it's just it takes balls.
Yeah, it does.
Let's do this one, Cole. Let's do the one Nina just put in the private chat. Alex, we'll just end the show with some more laughs. I love it. I love when people. I think humor is one of the best ways to kind of put a crack in this whole non-reality facade. This up is down, down is up. I love stuff like that.
It is.
It takes you a second.
Super effective too to like expose the bullshit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, this one's great. Yeah.
I have
yeah,
not seen this, so I'm excited to watch this.
Oh, it's amazing.
About the people of Ukraine and what they're going through. So I prepared a little song for them. Let me turn this on. I really want to try to help the people out there. Okay, guys?
Bluetooth speaker.
Let me just get it going. They call me Primetime 99 Alex Stein. Hope you guys like my sweater.
Plugs his channel.
Oh my God.
Come on. Primetime 99 on the grind all the time. Go insane for Ukraine. A bullet in Putin's brain. I'm Primetime. Always on the grind. Always got to shine. And you know it's no lie. Oh, excuse me. Come on, audio. Where are we going? Now we're going. Now we're cooking, guys. I got it turned down a little bit. It's prime time. Let's start that one more time, guys. Come on in the audience.
There's no one there.
He's having like technical difficulties and he's going with it. That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh. This is what we need more of. I think we need more of jacks, like actual people who don't want to lead but would be good leaders. And we need more people just doing comedy in these kangaroo court settings.
Yes.
It's sort of just showing that the emperor has no clothes. It's making fun of it, you know?
I almost think this is way more like effective than being angry and yelling at people. Like, have you seen those? Like, I mean, that has an effect too. Like when you see like those really angry parents like yelling at the school boards, but like if you go there and then you make fun of them, I think it's more effective than you go there and you scream at them and yell at them and then get in trouble because you're, attacking them or like harassing them or whatever.
Yeah.
It's more, it has more like the mom. Okay, so like there's a clear recipe here with the viral videos. Like obviously like a black parent speaking against CRT does very good on Twitter. Or a minority parent, I'll say. I don't like that word. A non-white parent speaking out against CRT always seems to do it really well. But like this kind of stuff too also does exceedingly well. And like I think satire is like, I mean, that's why they went after the Babylon Bee.
Yes.
It's way more ridiculous because like, wait a minute, this is crazy. Like the Philadelphia City Council yesterday, I think I saw a tweet was like, they were debating whether or not we should have a no-fly zone over Ukraine, yet Philadelphia has had the deadliest crime year in 20 years and it's only March or something like that. It's like people need to go in there and like be like, hey, What are you doing? You're debating geopolitics and your city's crumbling. I mean, New York, shout out to Mikey. What a shithole.
Yeah.
What a
Chicago.
shithole.
If you read the New York Post, which I know is right leaning, there every day there's another lunatic doing something that is so mind, like that 2 weeks ago, that guy was rubbing shit on people in the subway.
Oh
Like,
God, yeah.
what is going on in New York? And then you got like, do you see their new law? I have to get your take on this. Famous people don't have to get the vax now, by the way, in
What?
New York.
Oh my
They
God.
just passed that yesterday. If you're famous or a performer, you don't have to have the vax, but policemen and firemen do.
Wow.
Imagine that. Like, if that doesn't cause, there will be protests. I'm certain there will be. Like, that has to. I'll let Mike talk. What do you think?
You know, like, I mean, I've been to a million protests, and it's wonderful. I don't want to sound like I'm degrading the people who do that. That's amazing and wonderful. But the most you'll ever see there is a couple hundred, maybe one time there's like 1,000. So that's what I meant before, is that you haven't seen any sort of mass uprising like there's been in other countries. It's crazy to me. This is something like, obviously the last year, 2 years has made it so much worse, but it was starting even in the year or two before that like you would go into a Duane Reade in what was formerly a nice area. And there was one time I went to a Duane Reade, maybe like 8 o'clock at night, and some guys like screaming and throwing shit off the shelves. And the people who worked there had no reaction. It's like they were just so used to it. And I said to them,
well, in their defense, I'd be like, you don't pay me enough. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I said to them, I was like, do you like call the cops? And they don't do anything. This is every night.
I believe that. Yeah, I believe
Like,
it.
I think that's how this city is now. I think people have just gotten so used to it. I'm trying to get the hell out.
I think it's really crazy because like I live in Mexico, Mikey. I don't know if you know that, but I live in Mexico, like in one of the safest parts of Mexico, actually, like because I live in Cancun. But like a lot of times, like I'll tell people like I live in Mexico, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, like how do you live there with a cartel and like blah blah blah?" And I'm like, it's safer here than it is in New York and Chicago.
Yes.
I was just thinking, I'm jealous as hell.
People don't believe
it's
that
great.
anymore, but it's like California is the same way. My friend who is my housemate now, I knew her back from LA. She lives with me now. One, because she couldn't work in California anymore. She's a physical trainer, and they shut all the gyms down for the longest time. But the other reason is because the crime rate has gotten so crazy, and it's so dangerous in areas where it never used to be dangerous, like West Hollywood. I don't know if you guys, West Hollywood used to be so, I mean, it's the gay part of LA. It's so safe, upper class, nice restaurants. It's kind of adjacent to Beverly Hills. She got mugged in West Hollywood, in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
It's like, that didn't used to happen. And
No, I went to California every year, Carrie, because I have family there, and we would go to Disneyland every year. And I haven't been to Disneyland for like a long time now because I'm boycotting those fuckers. But like but just generally speaking, like California has gone to shit. Like everywhere in California, like
Every
Malibu Beach, like just some of the most, like Sunset Boulevard, like some of the most amazing places in the 90s and like early 2000s is like now Bumville. Like it's like literally like just tent cities everywhere, and it's crazy.
My neighborhood? My neighborhood. I live right by this huge park. And like a couple years ago, I would walk around. This used to be the safest neighborhood. I would walk around the park alone at like 3, 4 in the morning. Shut up, Jeremy. You're going to make that sound
Is there a public bathroom out there? Yeah.
Oh.
But then I made the mistake of getting that app. What's that app that tells you about all the crime nearby? And it would just going off every 2 seconds. Stabbing, shooting. There was a guy with a machete. It was like a guy with a machete on the corner stabbing people.
Wow.
It's changing.
It's funny because it's all these democratic strongholds, but California is perhaps the most insane because they have all the money in the world to fix it, and it's like they refuse. It's like you have all these Hollywood. There's billions in all these Hollywood actors and actresses. They just move higher up into the hills in their gated communities, and they never have to interact with it. And I can't imagine. It's like we're gonna have the Grammys or the Oscars or whatever the hell on Monday or Sunday. Like you saw the last event they had. They literally had to relocate all the bums from what's the hall there they
I know what you're talking
what
about.
is it? It's a Grand Central or Station or whatever. There's all these bums, hundreds of bums. They had to like relocate so they could roll out the red carpet. It's like, holy shit. Like maybe all the people that are here that are supporting this, one of these Hollywood actors should be like, hey, did you guys know that they had to relocate 300 homeless people who were shooting up heroin in front of here? Like instead of talking about this nebulous global warming as they all got there in private jets, like they could actually have a change in the neighborhoods where they live, and they don't. It's the same thing with the Patricia from BLM or whatever. Where'd she go when she got the money? She got the fuck up out of there, and she moved into some gated community and left everyone behind. It's these people don't care about change at all.
And a lot of them now are moving out. So I know someone who, friend of a friend, they just bought. So they have a mansion in Bel Air. They just bought $1 million.
You know the Fresh Prince?
Whoa. Whoa.
No, I know the new Fresh Prince.
Oh, that's
the gritty one.
The terrible one. No, so just bought $1 million condo in Austin, which drives the prices up in Austin. And then everybody comes up here to where I live. The Austinites are all moving up here. And $2 million homes in North Carolina. Like some of them are going, and they're not even getting rid of the mansion in Bel Air. They're just going to be using like the Texas address for the tax write-off or whatever. And it's like, wow, like you destroy a place.
Union Station. Thank you. Sorry.
Union Station.
Yeah.
You destroy a place and then you move on. And I'm not blaming this person in particular. I have no idea even what their politics are. It's just that it's sort of like, it's like Locust. A place is destroyed and then you move on. And you just recreate
it's funny because that used to happen to Canada all the time, like in like the early 2000s, like after 9/11, like everybody was moving to Canada, and now everyone's like, we need the fuck out of Canada, man. Like, what is going on over there?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what drives me
Terry,
crazy.
I gotta go. So
okay.
I do too, actually.
Yeah. You guys, thank you so much for joining us. Just tell people where they can find you. Nina, I know you have your Infinite Hope show today.
Yes. So if you're sick of all the crazy clown world stuff, come and hang out with me right now. I'm going to be starting my show at 2:45 Eastern. So yeah, it's going to be Infinite Hope. We're going to talk about good news, good things happening. There's still good people out there doing good things. And there's always like doggy and kitty videos and stuff like that that we can laugh about and just hang out and have a good time. So come check me out. Thank you so much, Carrie. It's been a wonderful, wonderful show. Jeremy, it's always a pleasure. And Mike, it's nice to meet you. So I'm gonna hit you up definitely so we can talk more.
What's your channel? Just your name?
Nina Infinity.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Jeremy,
thank
you.
Bye, you guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, check out my channel because I'm like getting started again with stuff. So it's just my name.
You don't leave yet,
Mikey's Colic at youtube.com, I think. Have a good one. You guys find me, you know me, I'm the quartering. Thanks for having me so much.
Thank you, Jeremy. Take care.
Love you, Jeremy.
See you guys.
Mikey, I have something for you before you go.
Can I just say, by the way, I feel like the guy who cuts my hair found my Instagram and I blocked him. I feel like he's doing this to me on purpose.
You need to get a different. You need to find someone else to do your hair.
I already lost one hair person because he said I was a Nazi.
Okay, I want to end on this. So I found out that Cole doesn't like memes, which is weird. Cole, you guys can tell him in chat. Everybody likes memes, but his internet went out. So I'm going to try and share this myself. Let's see. Share screen. Okay, let's see. Thank you for bearing with me. There we go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. X. I would like to buy a consonant, someone said. This is a meme of it's Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, it's Wheel of Fortune, and you got Vanna White there, or the new Vanna White, and it spells WOM space N, and then the clue is adult female person, and you've got what's her name? Brown down in the right-hand corner, just looking confused.
Okay, wait, sorry, parentheses. Can I just say, did you guys ever read those books as a kid with like the little black boy solving crimes? Wasn't his name Brown Jackson?
I don't know those books. Maybe somebody in chat
remember
does.
that? Little Brown
Jackson
Jackson,
Brown.
and he would like fight crime or he would solve mysteries. What would he do? Something like that. I don't really know.
Okay, this one
know what
just
I'm talking about. No.
If you guys know, drop it in the chat. Okay, this one just got mixed in there, Mikey. Have you seen this one?
Yes.
We have lied about everything. However, the Ukraine coverage is all true.
Encyclopedia Brown.
Oh yeah, Encyclopedia Brown. Okay, just have a couple more. Star Trek meme. I give this one a let's say a 6 out of 10. Bones, over there, is that a woman? Damn it, Jim. I'm a doctor, not a biologist. Okay. You want to read this one?
That's amazing.
You read this one.
You make me feel like a natural woman. Huh?
That's the best part. Huh? And then finally, for all the Wordle fans, do you play Wordle, Mike?
Yeah, I'm kind of hit or miss at it. I'm either really good or really bad.
The left needs help solving this one, and it's WOMA.
I'm gonna go for another X.
There you go.
Max. That'll be the new one.
Anyway, thank you. I just love when there's something bad happening. Sometimes it just turns out that that's the best time for memes, and it's a meme windfall. And the internet did not disappoint me with this. There's been so many funny ones. Some of the funniest ones I saw were like some guy said, "I don't know if this is shit on my plate or not because I'm not the chef." I'm no chef.
I saw some really good Leah Thomas ones. Like there was one of the guy spiking the punch backstage at the swimming competition, and it says "Liquid Viagra."
Oh, nice! I didn't see that one.
You had to think about that.
I did have to think about it. Yeah, a rudder that would create a rudder, right?
God, what planet are we living on?
It's a crazy time. So since you're left here with me, I'll just do a couple of announcements at the end. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. I hope we hit all the super chats. If I miss one, I'll try and scroll through right now. I just want to let you know that Cole says, yeah, I heard that memes were coming, so my internet went out. Mike Harlow and I are going to be at the Better Discourse Conference coming up. Let's see, it's April 23rd, which is a Saturday. And this is the second time they're doing it in Texas. It's in Fort Worth. Mikey's hosting the whole conference.
I don't know what they're thinking, letting me host, but
I'm very excited for you. It's going to be fun.
I have ideas.
And then I'll be moderating a couple of panels, and there's going to be amazing speakers there, like Libby Emmons, who's been on our show, James Lindsay, Josh Slocum, Blair White is going to be there.
Southern, who I'm so excited to meet. That's like one of the OGs.
Lauren Southern, they're still adding people. So if you would like tickets, you can go to betterdiscourseevent.com and find out more info. It is in Fort Worth, and it's always a fun time. You get to hang out with people. There's lots of panels, but I think honestly, just hanging out with people and having conversations is one of the big draws. So,
Daniel and Brent are going.
Oh, Daniel. Yeah. So Dangerous Rhett, they're in the chat today. They're going to be there.
You guys are going.
Hi. Let me see if I can find that one.
Oh, Sean is going to be there.
Oh, Actual Justice Warrior will be there. Yeah.
My travel buddy.
Looking forward to hanging out with you guys.
Yes. I'll see you before then, bro.
Yeah. And then Laura, thank you for reminding me. Laura says hit like and subscribe. This is a new channel. If this was recommended to you by the algorithm, please hit like and subscribe. This is a new channel called Deprogrammed with Carrie Smith. And we have live shows on Mondays and Fridays called The Kerfefe Break. And we also have a Wednesday night live show called Pop Culture with my friend Mystery Chris. And then Deprogrammed interviews are on Thursdays. But thank you guys for being here. I think I covered everything. You got to plug your channel one more time. Oh, wait, one quick thing. This is so kind. I was like, bring the joy. I wore my joy. Thank you, Tex. Oh, thank you, Tara T. I'm trying to remember how to refer to her anonymously. Anyway, thank you, Tara T. She knit me. Look at this,
That's
Mikey.
beautiful.
It's like your wall. If I put it up.
It is.
It is your wall.
That's so
It's
cute.
gorgeous. I love it. Thank you so much for the joyful gift. And Mikey, tell people where they can find you.
Yes, please find my YouTube channel. It's just my name because I gotta be honest. I feel like I'm very shadow banned the last like month or so. So like I saw somebody in the chat, thank you so much, said you liked my video that I did about just saying no to left. So I have a new one that's kind of similar to that, that I just put up. So I'm kind of like feeling things out, but I'm gonna have a lot more stuff. I have like a long video coming this week, and we're gonna be
What
doing
is your YouTube called?
just my name.
Mike Harlow?
Mike like Tyson, Harlow like Gene.
Okay. I'm putting it on the screen. There you go.
Yes, that's my
Wonderful.
YouTube. So yeah, follow me on there. I got banned from TikTok. I like joined. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking. I joined TikTok because I was like, okay, that's where all the crazy libs are. So we're all being spied on enough as it is. China, you can have my dick pics. I will take one for the team. And then I got banned.
I think it's just like you said, they don't really have, they're all vague now. When they first started out, they had very definitive terms of service. So you knew what, if you were breaking the rules or not. And now they've just made it so vague. Facebook's the same way.
And my, oh my God, I know I'm in jail now for a month from there. But TikTok, my no video got taken down. And then this one that I just put on YouTube about Disney, Star Wars, and Democrats, that was the one that did it. So I didn't even like curse or anything. So I genuinely have no clue what did it, but it's on YouTube. So check out my YouTube.
Thank you guys for being here. Okay. I think we got all the super chats. I'm going to awkwardly end the show now.
Carrie, I love you so much. This is amazing.
I love you. I can't wait to see you.
We're doing stuff on my channel soon too.
Oh,
so
plug that. Yeah.
Yeah. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to like post stuff.
Yeah, we're going to be doing like a roundtable on your show, on your channel
It's going to be
very
amazing.
soon. I still think you should do a horror show. I think people would like, if you had something where people were just
first of all, I am the horror show, so.
Cool. One more super chat and then we're ending. Francis Montgomery. That's a famous name.
That's
Says,
a badass name.
I'm going to the Better Discourse event as well. Well, cool.
Yes,
We'll see
I
you
can't
there.
wait to see you.
Cool. Bye, guys. Okay, I'm going to try and roll this video and then we're going out.
Love you, Carrie.
Mikey, I know I keep bragging on him, but my husband made the music for this. It makes me really happy.
So good. I was just watching Cuphead, and it reminds me of that, your intro.
I don't know what that is, but I'll check it out. Okay. Bye, honey.